But I really do feel like in order to become like really good at something, even masterful at something, you have to go through a period of time where you're not looking at outside sources, you're not listening to other people, and you're not comparing yourself to other people who are doing the same thing as you. Because I feel like if you're really trying to learn something, you sitting down and doing it by yourself is what's gonna make you grow. For example, there was a time when I was really trying to get better at drawing because I wanted to be able to apply to storyboard jobs and more art jobs. And the only way I was successful in that is that I had to really dedicate, I think I dedicated about 30 minutes to an hour minimum, but most times it went up to be like 2 hours. I spent about 2 hours each day after work just drawing hands because hands was one of the things that I had a lot of issues with, like a lot of artists do. And I'm an artist, so I'm gonna talk about getting better at art, but like this obviously applies to anything that you're trying to do. The goal that I had set for myself was to draw, I think I started off wanting to draw 100 hands, and then 100 turned into 200, and then that turned to 300. And then I think by the end of it, I had drawn about 600 hands. And of course, I was better at hands after doing that, and it no longer was a problem for me. And yeah, just doing that really taught me that kind of really focusing on something and shutting out outside influences is the best way to learn something. And another example of this really is when I was looking into starting an art business. An art business really still is kind of like a long-term goal of mine, just to make a booth at like either a festival or a small craft fair or something, where I'm just selling my own comics and sharing my art with other people, like really small scale. I just really want to be able to be in a position one day where I am selling my art to people. And when I started getting this idea in my head, when I really was thinking about it, of course I went to YouTube, like we all do. YouTube's usually the first stop when you want to learn something new. And for a while it was nice because I would see all these videos about other people in their small business, how they made 100K off their art business, how they made this amount of money from the art business. And that's really good to see in the beginning, just so that you know that something is possible, and just so that you know that there's someone out there who has the same goal as you and they're succeeding. It gives you hope that you can also succeed. But at a certain point, I feel like you have to stop. You have to stop watching all of those videos. At least you have to start kind of like selecting things from those videos, and maybe listen to one YouTuber or two YouTubers that think this, that talk about that. But I was listening to like all the YouTubers that had ever started an art business, especially six figures, because that's what I'm trying to make one day. So I'd be like, oh, they made six figures. How do they do it? And I would be like taking notes and stuff. And that's really productive. But also, I feel like it can be really stagnating because now you're comparing yourself to them and you're thinking like, they made six figures. How are they doing that? Like, maybe you're thinking like, we have the same art level. Like, we both have the same level of expertise. Or maybe you're even thinking like, my art could be more successful than that person's art in this market. But like maybe that person is better at marketing. So now you're wondering and thinking like, how do they become so good at marketing? What can I possibly do? And yeah, I realized that you kind of just have to stop looking at all those different like videos. You have to kind of remove yourself a little bit and just start doing the thing you want to do. So like if you want to make an art business, just start an art business, really small scale, one thing at a time. Watch some videos for advice a few times, and then just don't watch any more videos. Just completely stop. And what also helps is to like kind of get off social media for a while. If you're really trying to train and level up at something, like feel free to just mute your friends on social media, the ones that kind of have the things that you want right now. Because it's like, it's not that they are doing better than you, but because social media, everyone posts kind of like their highlight reel, it makes you feel that way because they're only posting the good things about their lives. And the same thing goes with like all the art business YouTube videos that I was looking at in the beginning. People are only going to tell you if they're making like 6 figures. No one's going to go on there and be like, I'm living in poverty because I have an art business. But maybe some people are, you know what I mean? But they're not going to go on YouTube and tell you that. And you probably wouldn't want to watch that anyway, because, you know, you'll be discouraged. And all that to say is just make sure you're kind of controlling what you're watching when you have goals and ambitions and when you're trying to get better at something, because you're on your own journey. I'm on my own journey. Everyone is doing things at their own speed. And I don't know if someone told me this or if I kind of told myself this, but something that really helps me when I'm starting to compare myself to other people is to remember that if that other person was in your same exact shoes, like if they lived your same exact life, they had your same exact like background, and they were in the same exact situation as you, they would probably choose the same things that you chose to do. You know what I mean? But because like no other person can know exactly what your experience is, because you're the only you in this world, you literally like there's literally no comparison. There's no way you can compare yourself, because how can they know, you know, like everyone's kind of living a different independent life in this world. And so you can meet people where they're at, but you can't compare yourself to them. Also, you shouldn't beat yourself up too much if you are comparing yourself. You can stop doing that, but then just remember that humans are social and we compare ourselves because that's what social creatures do. Like, to compare yourself is how you know how you stand in a society. And you know if you're doing well or if you're doing bad by looking around and seeing how other people are doing. It's just that you can't compare yourself for too long, because then you'll get into a spiral and then it's hard to stop. And sometimes you'll just never start at all. So I guess that's all I wanted to say with this video. It really wasn't much, I guess, but I just feel like with social media nowadays, it's so easy to compare yourself, and it's kind of impossible not to, because all your friends are like doing these things that you really want so bad, and you just start to wonder like, why can't I have those things? But you should just remember that social media is fabricated. And you should also remember that you have something that other people are looking at you and comparing themselves to as well. Like, you have something that someone else wants too. And although you are looking at someone else thinking, I wish I could draw like that person, I wish I could have this like that person has, they are also looking at you and thinking that as well. It's just that we're kind of our own worst enemies usually. And we think that like, oh, like there's nothing that someone else would want about me because, you know, my life is this, that, and the third. But from the outside, usually it looks like people are doing pretty well. And people probably think that you're doing amazing as well. So just remember that as well. Like, people are always looking at you as well, you know? So that's all for today, really. I hope you had a great day. I think I'm a little bit tired because it's been a long day. It's been a long week for me, but I hope you guys are doing well, and let me know like what you do when you start comparing yourself to others. My go-to is just to completely shut off social media for a while and muting. I love muting friends for a while, and I'll go back and unmute if it's like, you know, just an acquaintance or something like that. I'll go back and unmute if I am genuinely interested in this friend and I don't want to like lose their friendship. I want to keep up to date on them. I'll unmute, but if I'm really trying to like level up at something, I'll just mute all day long, to be honest. And that's the way it should be. That's how you get better at things. So let me know what you do. Have a good one. Bye.